The story kicks off with a teenage boy named Jim who has a huge passion for watching movies. Just as he's about to start one, his mom unexpectedly walks in, making him panic and freeze on the spot. Moments later, Jim's dad enters the room and hears a loud cry of a woman coming from the television. At school, Jim's closest friends are Kevin and Chris. Things take a turn when Stifler joins their group and invites them along with Paul to his party, hinting that there will be plenty of attractive college girls. Before leaving the virgin gym, the boys awkwardly talk about what sex feels like and how they might finally lose their virginity. At Stifler's party, beautiful college girls are already mingling. Kevin and Jim are drinking, laughing, and flirting when Sherman shows up and loudly announces his plan to hook up with someone. Kevin's girlfriend Vicky leans in close to him, while Jim notices Nadia, the most stunning girl at the party. She smiles warmly, and he smiles back. But when he tries to approach her, he stumbles awkwardly and retreats. Meanwhile, Chris sits in a car with a pretty college girl who gives him advice on treating women respectfully. Kevin tries making a move on Vicky, but she stops him, saying she's not ready. Stifler, clueless about what's happening, accidentally drinks from Kevin's cup, something Kevin had prepared earlier. Soon after, Stifler feels sick and ends up vomiting in disgust. Later that night, Sherman calls Jim and Kevin to brag about a supposed hookup. The next morning, they find him with a girl downstairs. Sherman proudly declares he's lost his virginity and now feels like a real man. Jim and Kevin remain skeptical, especially Kevin, who has been trying with Vicky for months without success. Kevin then suggests to Chris, Jim, and Finch that they all make a pact to lose their virginity before graduating high school, no matter what it takes. Chris joins the school choir, which is filled with squeaky clean students, while Kevin, Jim, and Stifler sit at the back, uncomfortable watching him blend in. Chris hints he has a specific goal in mind. Meanwhile, Paul catches attention by golfing on the school lawn with choir girls. Kevin doubts this approach until one girl shows interest. Later, Kevin calls his older brother for advice on pleasing Vicky, and his brother suggests finding a book in the library for guidance. A girl casually asks Paul if he has a prom date, and he simply says no. After choir practice, Heather compliments Chris on his performance, and he tells her he'd like to get to know her better. Back at home, Jim sees a freshly baked pie on the kitchen table. He imagines it as a woman and starts fantasizing. In the middle of this, his dad walks in, catching him, but stays calm and reassures Jim that it's completely normal for someone his age. After a game, Chris spots Heather waiting for him on the sidelines. She praises his athletic skills and asks him to prom. The scene picks up with Stifler bursting onto the floor, dancing in an over-the-top, mock-seductive way just to get laughs from everyone around him. The crowd eats it up, and Chris joins in the laughter, not realizing that Heather, standing nearby, is quietly put off by his reaction. She's unsure if she can take him seriously. Later that evening, Kevin tries out the infamous tornado tongue technique on Vicky. Her eyes widen, and she's left stunned. Meanwhile, Nadia approaches Jim, saying she needs his help with her history homework and plans to come over the following day. Jim can hardly contain his excitement. Heather, still thinking about Chris laughing at Stifler's crude joke, decides to cancel her prom date with him. Across town, Jim tells Stifler about Nadia's upcoming visit, and Stifler, ever the mischief maker, urges him to set up a webcam so they can stream the encounter for the guys. The next day, when Nadia arrives, the boys gather around to watch the feed. As she starts undressing in Jim's room, Jim bolts out of his own house, running to Kevin's place in pure giddy disbelief. Back in Jim's room, Nadia stumbles upon a hidden stack of adult magazines. Amused and curious, she begins to pleasure herself. Jim rushes back but stops in the hallway when he hears her moaning. At that moment, Sherman calls, panicked, to inform Jim that the webcam link was accidentally emailed to the entire student body of East High. With the whole school watching live, Jim enters the room and, in a burst of nervous energy, tells Nadia it's only fair if she gets to watch him strip too. He starts undressing, completely unaware that the camera is still broadcasting. Nadia, unfazed, asks him to join her. But the moment turns awkward. Jim finishes far too quickly, leaving Nadia visibly disappointed. In a clumsy attempt to recover, he tells her she's even more exotic than any model he's ever seen, but the comment only makes things worse. The following day at school, Jim notices students giggling and whispering as he walks by. He doesn't understand until someone tells him Nadia has already flown home. It hits him hard. Every interaction he's had with a girl lately seems to end in disaster. Feeling like he's running out of options, he asks quirky band geek Michelle to prom. To his surprise, she instantly smiles and says yes. Meanwhile, Chris visits his father's workplace, unexpectedly running into Heather. She apologizes for canceling their plans, and he lightheartedly offers to make her a hot dog while they talk. As they eat, they open up about their plans for the future college majors, ambitions, and what comes after high school. Chris admits he'll have to choose between his lacrosse finals and the choir competition. Heather tells him she'll support whatever he decides, though her disappointment is visible. Game day arrives, and Chris suits up for lacrosse. But once the match begins, he feels disconnected, realizing his heart isn't in it. In the middle of the championship, he walks off the field, leaving his stunned teammates behind, and heads straight to the auditorium. Heather is already on stage, about to perform. Chris walks in, kisses her in front of the entire audience, and joins her for their duet. They sing with playful chemistry, holding hands as the final note rings out. The crowd erupts in applause. Elsewhere, Vicky confides in Kevin, telling him she wants them to stay together after graduation. Kevin is floored, especially since she says it right in front of Jim and their friends. Soon, prom night kicks off. Students rush to get dressed, fix their hair, and head to the dance floor. Kevin and Vicky sway together, moving in sync, while Chris and Heather share intimate moments between songs. Jim, however, seems less than thrilled, dancing with Michelle, who chats non-stop in her quirky, cheerful way. Kevin reminds everyone of their pact to lose their virginity before graduation. He insists tonight has to be the night, but Jim and Paul both admit they've lost interest in the bet, leaving Kevin feeling abandoned. Then comes the ultimate embarrassment. Sherman's big claim about losing his virginity is revealed to be a total lie. His girlfriend grabs the band's microphone and announces that she has never slept with him. The entire room laughs, and in the chaos, Sherman is so humiliated that he wets himself on the spot. Kevin's voice is low and heavy with disappointment as he walks away, joined by Chris, Jim, and Paul to head to Stifler's party. Determined not to back out, Kevin follows through with his original plan. That night, each of the boys ends up in very different situations. Kevin takes Vicky upstairs to a quiet bedroom where they finally have time alone. Chris and Heather retreat to the lakeside, enjoying a tender private night. Chris confesses that while he once wanted to lose his virginity before graduation, her feelings have now become more important than any pact. Meanwhile, Paul runs into Stifler's charming mother. She notices he's alone and playfully asks why he doesn't have a date. They share a drink, trading lighthearted jokes and flirty remarks. As the conversation grows warmer, Paul leans in with a bold compliment about how stunning she looks. She smiles knowingly, and the teasing turns into a surprisingly passionate moment. The scene cuts away as their laughter echoes near the pool table, leaving the rest to the audience's imagination. Jim, still with Michelle, is surprised when she reveals a bold, adventurous side beneath her sweet exterior. They end up together as well. The next morning, Stifler searches the house for his mom, only to open a door and find Paul with her. The shock is too much. He freezes, his eyes wide, and immediately faints on the spot. And with that, the story wraps up in a chaotic, unforgettable finale, one full of laughter, unexpected romance, and more than a few surprises.